Yes.
Good morning, President Wesson, commissioners, councilpersons. I stand before you as a Tongva woman. This was my land for 15,000 years prior to any colonization. People came and changed us and tried to erase us. I'm here to tell you that we are not disappearing. We are still here. Thank you very much. I want you to look into any eyes of any children that are here in the audience. And if you are making a decision to vote in favor of removing Columbus Day and making it Indigenous Peoples Day, I applaud you. And our children will hold you as a legacy as somebody who changed what is happening in education in the schools. True education is not teaching the truth, and we need to learn that truth. If you are abstaining, please look at the children. Please provide that legacy and provide the future for them that they will understand. If you are opposed, look at the children. Okay, remember the children.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker. Identify yourself.
Choctaw Council members, I respectfully acknowledge the Gabrielino Tongva people on whose lands we meet today. My name is Shannon Speed, and I'm a Chickasaw tribal citizen and director of the American Indian Studies Center at UCLA. I come before you as a scholar of human rights and justice processes in order to say that today you hold in your hands the opportunity to carry out an act of restorative justice. Eliminating Columbus Day as a city holiday is an acknowledgement of both the historical falsehoods that have been ideologically propagated against Indigenous peoples and the ongoing harm that the celebration of this day represents for our peoples today. In the creation of Indigenous Peoples Day as a holiday in this city on the second Monday of October is an act of restorative justice in the sense that it restores a truth directly and facilitates a process of mutual forgiveness. More importantly, given this historic opportunity, failing to do so will create the opposite effect, engendering not truth-telling and mutual healing, but rather feelings of resentment, anger, and betrayal by those who have repeatedly told this body what is needed to right this wrong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council President. My name is Rudy Ortega Jr. I'm Fernandinho Tataviam. I'm the tribal president. I'm also the chair of the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission. I'm asking you to vote in favor of Indigenous Day. And the reason is there's obvious a lot of people who explained and testified before you. But for me, I'm right here. My great-grandfather lost his lands because of the aqueduct. My great-uncle went to war in World War I. My father went to World War II. He served in this country, but my great-uncle served because, one, there was a draft. Two, he wasn't a citizen of the United States, yet he was born here in Los Angeles. And that's when we talk about Indigenous Day. We're talking about identifying the people who are from here. I didn't come from somewhere else. My ancestors here. I'm from Situnanga, which is Encino. This is my ancestors' lands. I have nowhere to go. This is where I'm from. I'm here to look at it. I know it's painful. I know it's hard as Italian people. Your contribution needs to be acknowledged as well. And I know it's emotional, but think about it. When these people came, they were emotional as their lives changed. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could have Chrissy Castro, Brian McDonald, and Joseph Quintana.
I'm Chrissy Castro, Navajo, CD1. I'm here standing with millions of Indigenous people that call LA home, asking the City Council to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day on the second Monday of October. A few City Council members want us to choose a different day. I'm here to let you know that the millions of Indigenous people that are in Los Angeles cannot and will not accept that. One, we have been celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day since its inception. We have historical records that show at least formally since the 1970s we've been celebrating that day during this time. To make us celebrate on any other day would be a further injustice to a very long line of injustices that have been perpetuated against our people. I don't think the City Council wants to do that. Two, we have the highest rate of youth suicide. The American Psychological Association has determined that their dehumanizing symbols such as Columbus are part of the cause for that. We must stop that now. Please do what's right. Stand on the right side of history. And we ask you to stand on the side of justice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, my name is Brian McDonald. I'm a member of the Chemehuevi Indian Tribe and the Vice Chairman of the Tribal Alliance of Sovereign Indian Nations, also known as TASIN. TASIN is an intergovernmental association of federally recognized tribal governments throughout Southern California dedicated to protecting and promoting the tribal sovereign government rights, cultural identity, and interests of federally recognized tribes. We are the descendants of the original peoples who inhabited and governed these lands long before Christopher Columbus set sail. A true and accurate account of the residence and occupation of the Americas by indigenous peoples since time immemorial is necessary to set the historical record straight and to respect the culture, language, and traditional life ways of our indigenous ancestors. Having the City of Los Angeles recognize and celebrate the heritage of federally recognized, state-recognized indigenous peoples from all over the world is necessary to respect the indigenous history and unite all of these people. Certainly 1 minute is not a huge amount of time to go into detail. Hopefully you can expend those. Thank you.
Okay, if I could get the next speaker. I'm also looking for Dr. Stephen Hackle, and I think it's Brahid Pulskamp. Yes, sir.
Kuatsi. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Joseph Quintana. I'm Development Director at United American Indian Involvement. I'm also an LA City County American Indian Commissioner. I'd like to mention that I'm in the business of hope, just like you are. A hope for a better tomorrow, a hope for better for our people. We look at this council, anybody who comes to LA, they know why this place is great. It's because of you, your representation, African American, Asian American, Mexican American, Italian Americans. But also, what about the American Indian? You've been erased. We've been erased from education. We've been erased from the history books. What's the promise for us? Is the promise for a better tomorrow? I'm in the business of creating hope, just as you are. Create that hope. The question today isn't whether or not we have the will to make this change. The question is whether or not you're going to make it for us. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could get Dr. Goldman and Dr. Douglas Carranza. Yeah, please come forward and identify yourself, sir.
I'm Steve Hackle, a professor of history at UC Riverside. I was invited to be a special expert witness today, but that panel was canceled an hour ago. It's worth remembering that Christopher Columbus, his conscience was not troubled by the taking and selling of slaves. Today we come here to remember that the long, dark shadow of Christopher Columbus also reached to California. Before 1769, California had a native population of 350,000 people. After 60 or 70 years of colonization, 80,000 Indians had been baptized and 60,000 in the missions had died. 25,000 of those were children under the age of 10. Yet remarkably, in the midst of this catastrophe, indigenous people of California and elsewhere built the city of Los Angeles. They moved here from Mexico. They moved here from impoverished regions of Mexico and worked with the Gabrielino Tongva to build the city of Los Angeles. Thus, since its origins, Los Angeles has been a city of indigenous people. Given the long history of suffering by native peoples in the Americas, today we make a choice.
Thank you. Thank you.
To remember Columbus or the indigenous peoples who built Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Yes, please identify yourself.
Yat Bridget Pulskamp, Yanashe Sina Jenny Nishlant, Billagana Bashichin, Twitachini Shea Shache Ado Shanali. I'm standing here before you as a mother, as a grandmother, as a human being, that I'm asking for you for the reconciliation and the justice and the healing for our people. And we talk about Columbus Day coming and being here from 500 years ago and the terrorization that began and the trauma. But what I wanted to bring to you and let you know that this still exists today for our children in our rooms, in our classrooms. My son in kindergarten entered through those doors into the public school system with his wearing his hair long and strong and proud. On Columbus Day that night, he came home and at our dinner table looked at me and said, "Mom, I'm not Indian." And that broke my heart because I knew whatever was said and whatever was done broke his heart that day.
Thank you.
And I'm just pleading that this needs to be changed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hello, my name is Monique Castro. I am Dene and Mexican. I was born and raised here in Northeast Los Angeles in the community of Lincoln Heights. Los Angeles has been home to my family since 1961. Like many of us, I wear various hats. This includes supporting my community in diverse roles and capacities. One of my roles is a mental health therapist. As a therapist, I witness firsthand how false messages, imagery, and information negatively impacts our community. It is absolutely necessary that I advocate on behalf of my community where there is an alarming rate of suicide, substance use, intimate partner violence, health disparities, and repeated trauma. I have the responsibility to ensure the emotional, psychological, and physical well-being of my clients and my community. Understand that I have a lived experience of everything I've just shared with you. As a student, I learned and did the research. As a therapist, I worked tirelessly to create space to heal many generations of trauma.
Thank you. Thank you. If I could get the next speaker. Yes, identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Mashana Goman. I'm chair of the American Indian Studies at UCLA. I come here today with a good mind. That is, I come with peace, awareness, and intent here. I wanted to say that we are not about anti-immigrant or anti-Italian, but not about celebrating a man who caused great harm. In our communities, we banished rapists. So, just as it has taken work to obscure Indigenous people, it will take all of us to move forward from past harms. It is not about celebrating one version of history over all others, but addressing how we may come together as communities and recognize our relationship to this place as we build a future. We're all guests on Tomva land. Invisibility has harmed Indigenous communities in material ways. We are the highest population who experience sexual violence, 1 in 3, incarceration, and extreme forms of violence outside our own racial groups. All too often, these statistics are left out of reporting, however, even though on the socioeconomic indicators, American Indian, Alaskan Natives often are at the lower rung.
Thank you.
Stereotypes hurt all our children.
Thank you.
I recognize
Thank you.
you take leadership.
Now, let me just, sir, and if you could identify yourself. What I'm saying, if I didn't call your name, you don't get in line unless I call your name. I got to keep some order, and so that I try to be fair. And I'm assuming are you Douglas? Okay. And then after you, I want Marcos Aguilar and Lydia Ponce.
Good morning. My name is Douglas Carranza. I am a professor and chair of the Department of Central American Studies at CSUN and also a member of the American Indian program at CSUN. I am here to support the replacement of the name of Columbus Day for Indigenous Day, even though it doesn't make any justice speaking just 1 minute, because you cannot explain in 1 minute everything. I am from El Salvador, and I migrated to this country 36 years ago. Hundreds of American Indians moved also from Central America. More than 200,000 people were killed in Guatemala, most of them Maya Quiche. You have here in Los Angeles hundreds of thousands of Central American indigenous people. Then I think it will be justified.
Thank you.
But 1 minute is not enough. Thank you, and I support this move.
Thank you. Here's my...
Council President Wesson, Councilmember Gil Cedillo, Councilmember Jose Huizar. We've known each other for a long time now. I'm here on behalf of Indigenous youth and families in the community served by Anahuacalmecac International University Preparatory of North America. I urge you to abolish Columbus Day and adopt Indigenous Peoples Day on the second Monday of October. In Los Angeles, this campaign has been spearheaded by the City and County of Los Angeles' official mechanism by addressing the interests of Indigenous peoples, the Native American Indian Commission, and hundreds of other groups and people. Any proposal which contradicts this official mechanism's call to action challenges a well-thought-out embedded public process which has garnered the support of community-based Indigenous peoples and our leaders, therefore contradicting free, prior, and informed consent. which means that this council, if it does not implement Indigenous Peoples Day as recommended by the Commission, would be denying free, prior, and informed consent of Indigenous peoples in the city of Los Angeles. I'm here, my day job is to take care of children, to raise them with good values, and to think about their future. I urge you to do that as well.
Thank you. Ms. Ponce.
Lydia Ponce, visitors, fences, pushing west, conquistadors, their manifest destiny. We are people of the sun, we are good stock, made slaves, blood, sweat, tears, masoned missions. Those colonial settlers began to kill Earth Mother, taking land, water, fire, air. First kill the Indian, residential boarding schools, alcohol and commodities. Our tobacco sage prayer since time immemorial, always united, eagle and condor, because divide and conquer battles never ended. It's war every day, wounded knee to standing rock, from Toy Periana to AIM to Zapatistas. Our songs and our prayers versus technologic, science experiments on black and red indentured servants. Reservations, reserves, ghettos of the world, eugenics, rapes, murders, thieves, broken treaties, broken promises, broken hearts, suicides because of lies, your pipelines, your deforestation, mining dynamite, blasting for oil, uranium, copper, gold, your man camps, our murdered and missing Indigenous women on Turtle Island. Indigenous are still here.
Thank
our
you,
existence is our...
Ms. Ponce. Thank you. Okay.